So a question has come up about on the Himalayan Art Resources website how the word Krodha is used with reference to Vajrapani. Now, the word Krodha just by itself, it actually means wrathful, and it can be used for any wrathful deity. When it comes to Vajrapani, it's a little bit more nuanced because it can be used in a very generic way, and it can also be used in a specific way, which gives rise to some of the confusion. But just to backtrack just a little bit, Vajrapani is a complicated figure in Buddhism because he first appears really in, I'm not sure if he appears in pre-Sarvastivadin, I'm not sure if he appears in any Pali sutras, but he definitely appears in the Sarvastivadin sutras and the later Mahayana sutras. And often he's related to Heracles, to the Greek legend of Hercules, Heracles. He holds a club, whereas Vajrapani is known for having the attribute of a Vajra, which is actually the symbol of the god Indra. A bit of a conflation there. Now, the figure of Vajrapani in the sutra tradition is generally not wrathful. He's just a bodhisattva like Avalokiteshvara or like Manjushri or like Maitreya. And he appears in many of the sutras as an interlocutor with the Buddha or as a co-interlocutor or just in the audience. Now, so from the art of the sutra literature, we can have many paintings or sculpture of a peaceful Vajrapani. And when we have the depictions of the 8 great bodhisattvas, then we have Vajrapani in his peaceful appearance. And this is called the Shanti Vajrapani, or peaceful in Tibetan, Shiva. Now, when we get into Tantra literature and Vajrayana Buddhism, then again we have 2 different figures of Vajrapani. We can have a peaceful figure of him as a deity, a meditational deity, and then we can have a wrathful figure. So the peaceful in Vajrayana Buddhism, which is the iconic forms of the deity in Vajrayana, we have 2 types. We have the peaceful and then we have the wrathful. Now, when it comes to the wrathful, it gets really quite complicated, and it's complicated really for only one reason, and the one reason is there are many forms of Vajrapani, but the one-faced, 2-armed form is the most confused, and I'll get into that in a moment. But there are other forms in Vajrayana. There are the one-faced 4-armed, and there's roughly 3 different forms of this. It's called Bhuta Dhamara. Then we have 3 faces and 4 arms. Then we have 3 faces, 6 arms. That's called the Mahachakra, and we only have a few forms of that. There is an 8-faced, 16-armed, but I'm not sure if we have any imagery for that. I think it's possible it might still just be a textual subject, and we've not found any art as yet. Then there are many Nyingma revealed treasure traditions for Vajrapani. Okay, now, so those Vajrapanis are named. We have names for them. Bhuta Dhamara, Mahachakra, etc. Now, when it comes to the one-faced, 2-armed, this is really the problem. And the reason is because we have so many different versions. And how we really look at the different versions and understand them is we have to look at the compendium texts, because the compendium texts, or all the different compendia, they have many different forms of Vajrapani in a wrathful appearance with 1 face and 2 arms. We have the Mitra Gyatso has quite a few. The Rinjung Lentop has maybe 8 different forms. Now, a lot of the ones that come out of the Mitra Gyatso are also the same or shared with the Rinjung Lentop. In the Nartang Gyatso, we have 1, which is 1 face, 2 armed. And then we have other traditions. We have traditions coming from Rechungpa and Tipu Pandita, where it's one-faced, two-armed. So it's because of this, having so many different forms, and then the appearance is almost identical except for the left hand, where the left hand is sometimes in a wrathful gesture, sometimes it's holding a lasso, sometimes it's holding a bell, sometimes it's held at the heart, sometimes it's extended outward. So because in sculpture and in painting, there are so many different, we have so much art, but it is not clear exactly which form of the one-faced, two-armed, wrathful Vajrapani it is. On the Har website, we categorize most of these under the umbrella term Krodha, wrathful Vajrapani. So when we use wrathful, it's because we don't know, or we haven't really spent time to focus on an exact, precise identification. Whereas with the other, the four-armed, the three-faced, the six-armed, the Mahachakra, etc., those are easy to identify. But all of the dozen to maybe 24 different forms of Vajrapani, where he's blue, wrathful, with two arms, generally holding upraised in the right hand of Vajra, generally in the left, wrathful gesture, a lasso, or a bell, then it can be very difficult to know. And it's very difficult to distinguish these between the Nyingma revealed treasure forms of wrathful Vajrapani as well. So this is just a quick explanation of how we use the word Krodha with reference to Vajrapani. It's just a big bucket. It's a big box where we generally put in a lot of different sculpture and paintings that are not really clearly identified as yet. So you can press like, you can subscribe, you can join Har on Patreon, and you can also make a donation on the homepage of Himalayan Art Resources.